You make it.
Town board meeting, please rise and pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, really.
I'm gonna include, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting of January 14th and also the special board meeting of January 22nd. Moved by Rick, seconded by Dick. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. No one opposed, carries. Under old business, I'd just like to make the public aware that if you haven't seen it already, we have set a public hearing date for anyone interested in giving feedback on a pretty lengthy session of, let's say, redefining the relationship between Orta and Town of North Elba as it relates to the Olympic facilities that we own, namely the Oval, the ski jumps, and the Olympic Arena. That public hearing date is set for February 19th at 5:30 at the Convention Center. Anything else, Emily or Rick, you'd like to add?
Just that the documents are on our website now, so it's the full, what's it called? Management Operations Agreement. And the second document is the CEC, which is Community Engagement. Document is also on our website under public hearings.
Yeah, public hearing went to go.
And the public hearing notice is also there.
Good. Under new business, it was actually quite a read in accepting our town historian report for 2024. It looks like Karen is just as busy.
I love the detail. I mean, it's this, it's so similar to Bev's, yeah. The little, the details is nice.
In any respect, a huge thank goes out to Karen for the hard work she does to keep all of the inquiring visitors and locals, give them what she can. With that being, I take a motion to accept the town historian's report. Emily, seconded by Jason. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. No one opposed, accepted. This next item certainly won't be solved tonight. It may take a while. I have a personal opinion on it already, but regardless, this is something, we had a request from, let's see. I know her as Ann Cantwell. Her last name is Telfer. She works for Ron Briggs. She had a request from, Pine View over on the Mackenzie Pond Road to annex into the village. The basic information on this, and I didn't, because this will be ongoing discussion, I didn't put this in everybody's box, but it basically centers around the owner of those apartment complexes. There's 96 residents there. One of the main hangups is that he objects to the village charging him double rates on water because they are currently town of North Elba and outside the village limits. So he's asking to be annexed in. It's not quite as simple as it sounds, but the village has offered to take over the road on the way into those apartments, maintain it, insurance, the whole bit, so he won't have insurance on the road. It'll be maintained. However, what we would lose by annexing out, we would lose $1,235 on a highway charge. They would come out of our Raybrook Fire District, which is $2,200. And there would be no more Park District tax, which would be just shy of $1,400. All of our revenues on that piece of property currently equate to $15,000. A third of that would go away, basically 5,000. So I always try to look at both sides of the coin and, doing what's best for the residents. I'm not opposed to working with the village of Saranac Lake. However, in this case, where what I see as the main objection is the high taxation of water. Let me see, was it just you in the meeting with Swazo, the engineers? I've asked them to do a basic quick estimate on cost to put in a water line. It's 1.1 miles to get to that line that would feed. And I've talked about this before, and Plan B seems to be a current phrase. Orta's got a Plan B, now we got a Plan B. Which would mean running down Mackenzie Pond Road with a new resource of water and actually being able to help those people there with a good water rate. Now, with 96 people there along, I believe when I researched the number of water users in the town of North Elba that get water from the village of Saranac Lake, I believe the count is like 280. So we're gonna do basic estimates to know the cost to run a water line and what we can recover back in revenues.
So Derek, excuse me, if a water line is run to Willow Lane or whatever it is, Willow Way,
Yep,
they hook on, do they have the option of either Saranac Lake water or us?
well, that gets a little complicated because we have an agreement with the village of Saranac Lake to supply our North Elba residents.
Okay.
We never had a water source. So I have talked a couple times, let's say off the record, but Grace is here, so it's now on the record.
And you're being recorded too, so.
Yeah,
And
but listen, there's no such thing as a secret anyway. In any respect, we have an agreement with the village of Saranac Lake where if we ever wanted to relinquish that contract for water, we need to let them know, I'm not sure what it is. It might be 18 months ahead of time. It might be 2 years. There is a clause in there to do that. However, I would want to do things on a mutual basis. In other words, Village of Saranac Lake, one of their major resource wells has terrible iron infiltration. So they've got their hands full with local problems there. Maybe we can come to terms with a new water source and make it help both parties. that would be my intention in moving forward.
Because if we ran a line, I guess bottom line is Saranac Lake would probably stand to lose more than what we would. If their water taxing is twice as high.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's right. So a mutual agreement on a
Right.
water source
Need to,
could stabilize both of us. And there's no reason that shouldn't be the intention in moving forward with something like this. Because, one thing alone, don't forget that, that old dump site is, they're looking at putting in, athletic fields. What do you need to maintain athletic fields? Irrigation, water. So, anyway, I've only got 10 months left, so I can stir it up enough.
What I'm confused by from the ask, which maybe you or Todd could explain to me better, is if they're already they're not in the village, they're only in the town of North Elba.
Right,
By annexing into the village, why would anything change with the town except for zoning?
because village limits they would have their own fire protection.
Oh.
That would negate,
Why Park District though? Okay, I get the fire protection, but why Park Districts?
because I think village,
Of Saranac Lake doesn't pay town of North Elba Park, oh, but Village of Lake Placid has to?
yeah. Because our park district, you see, park district, I believe, ends in Raybrook.
Okay. I was just confused why we would be giving up those things, but it must be that if I asked Todd, he'd probably show me.
And
Village
Todd
of
is the one
Saranac.
that gave me this.
Yeah, and he would give me his number crunching.
Yeah,
But if
you guys can look at that if you.
But I'm also confused on why our $3 million valuation only has, like, it just seems like it'd be more money that we'd be losing from a $3 million valuation.
Yes, that's what,
Yeah,
that's what I was, I guess, confused by. These are just,
Todd already mentioned that that is a very modest appraisal or assessment. Yeah, based on the construction over there.
But-
And put it this way, we are not at a stage where we're even ready to discuss all the issues surrounding this, because I just had this sent to Glenn and Mark
Yeah.
down at Shackner's.
my other thing, my other worry would be that every other, so there's 280 potentially other people that are in this same situation. What if they all come to us and say, or go to the Village of Saranac Lake and say, we want to be part of the Village of Saranac Lake? Then that's a lot more revenue loss.
Oh, for sure.
So why are we potentially saying, even considering this one?
I'm not saying we're considering it. I wouldn't even,
It's like you said, you're trying to,
I'm trying to
you're looking-
appease the problems,
you try to look out for the locals too,
right?
along the way.
okay, maybe circling back to Emily's. They would still reside in the town of North Elba, but they would pay village taxes at that
You
point.
were kidding.
And the town taxes.
How is
How's
that, how is that a win to them? Like, the water rates are that high?
Yeah.
That they're gonna be willing to pay Village of Saranac Lake taxes just to get lower water rates? Cause if that was, if in Lake Placid, I would get rid of my taxes.
pay the water.
And pay the water.
Exactly.
That's why we're at a loss of understanding that it's really even a smart move.
Well, maybe the owner doesn't understand that it's not a smart, like, has he looked at what his village, Saranac Lake Village taxes would be?
Is
I
he paying the
can't.
taxes or is it the residents paying the taxes?
Well, he has to pay the taxes, but he passes it off through grant.
See, that's the thing, he could,
Oh, it doesn't make a difference.
he could say, he's gonna pass off anything anyway.
Right.
So to appease people. I'm reading this and maybe this is one person speaking for 96.
Right.
Well, it says 48 units.
Yeah,
total.
but he says 96 people.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
one person coming up with this idea for 96 people and selling it.
Well, he's the landlord, he's willing to do that.
what type of housing is it? Do you?
It's a apartment building.
There's
Just
four,
regular.
Regular apartment building.
Four
but it
buildings.
100% serves a long-term rental purpose.
Yeah.
I think it's 12 apartments per building.
Personally, I've never been in there.
You just have to
Yeah.
drive down.
Yeah, aren't they're not stacked.
Yeah, they
They're stacked.
It's a great place to get signatures when you're running for office.
yeah.
You just go-
And it's like-
Kenzie Oakland.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so in any respect, I don't want to belabor this. It's in front of our legal representation, and we'll wait for a little response from them. My initial reaction is that I'm not in favor of this. All right. I guess Dick and Emily are up on discussion and possible acceptance on some cannabis fund applications.
Yeah, in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has-
I got it in front of
I'm gonna pull up the file too, so I can help you out.
Okay, you want me to do 4 or 5? Just the 4?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, just wanna make. So, basically, you guys, I don't know, you guys got sent it yesterday, so probably didn't have a chance to read it too well. But the first one is from the, police department, from Chuck, saying they've got, a TrueNarc scientific instrument that'll detect dangerous narcotics. It's a handheld unit. It's just detect the compound. And when Emily and Haley and I met the other day, yesterday, they did receive money a couple rounds ago from Leaf for a device, but this is an updated unit, which obviously will detect different compounds. And their ask, which is above the normal we've been doing, 5,000, they're asking for 10,000, and we as a group or whatever, the three of us, Emily and I said, go for it. So that's that one. The
And
next one,
I was just gonna add that in our discussion,
yeah,
part of the reason why I thought it would be, well, one, accepting to go above the 5,000, but this is meant to be a discussion, not just Dick and I telling you what we thought. Was that I can't imagine, I couldn't really picture more asked from the police department that would fit within our policy. And this one fits very well within our policy. Yes, it's not about cannabis detection, but it's about drug detection. And I think with everything that's been going on with people getting so sick from not knowing what is drugs and what is not, this is something that we could do to help the police department protect themselves
you particularly, as you pointed out yesterday with what happened last month in Malone.
in the prison. Yeah.
In Malone,
Yeah.
in upstate. And also, Emily convinced me, I'll admit, I wanted to stick at 5,000 because that's what we've been using. But however, we do have the funds right now to support that 10,000, but just my own opinion is to expand upon what Emily says. I agree with her for the 10, but I think at this point, the money, and we don't know how much is coming in, and we don't have a ton of money. And as Haley put it, the word is out now for these applications, this fund. I think for now, we should limit it that, no more than 10 in the future, unless we see.
Well, I think it should be 5, but this is a very special.
But then,
exception.
but that's what I'm saying, 5 to 10, depending on the situation.
Are they not using any of the sort of the seizure money? Do they have appropriated for any? Because they have a fair amount of, I'm happy to help them. But
Oh, yeah, the whole price is 26 grand, isn't it?
32.
32.
Yeah, 32.
And some is from their budget and
Yeah.
some is from a leaf ask,
Yeah.
which has not been awarded yet.
Right, they do, one of the things we're seeing is these applications, which Haley sent out and everything, is we are asking for where those funds are coming from. And sometimes we have to go back and ask for it, but that is coming. Next one I've got here is from I'm probably saying it wrong, the Lake Placid Robe Olympians, team number 7030. It's sent in, but it's a group of Lake Placid Middle High School students that are in a robotics club. And this particular, they're asking for $2,500. And this particular ask is for March 26th to the 29th. They go for a 3-day regional event in Albany, and it's actually international. Can't give you more information than that. It's international, and actually, I believe in the narrative here, last year they finished second. So
they've done pretty
yeah,
well.
so
And
So-
it's a $6,000 entry fee, which we were shocked
yes, I
by.
I read that and I go, huh? I
Like,
mean,
I mean, for a high school robotics show, that seems pretty crazy.
it does. So that one, and you can see also that, that there's the entry fee, and they only ask for 2,500 because it is a line item in the budget, so.
A donation from the Legion.
So that's that one. And the other one is from ADK. And they have a program 3 seasons at Heart Lake School Outreach Program, which has been ongoing, and it's offered to the all the students, little students in all the area, Adirondack schools.
The Mountain Club, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is, they've said that the whole program is $220,000. They're asking for 4,500. And this involves just the printing of the material that the students will receive during the program. And they receiving, right? Who's the balance coming from? Some foundation, I'm sorry, some local foundation or not even,
And
maybe
private
look-
benefactors.
yeah, $1,500, something like that. So they've even said, it's not, we're just that, that's not, what we're asking for you for whatever they said for the material. To print it.
It's all youth oriented?
Yes, yes, all educational youth. And the last one is Northern Lights school in Saranac Lake. And we researched this. I've done it in the past through other avenues. And they're asking, they have it's for childcare. And they have 3 classrooms. 2 of them have bathrooms attached, 1 doesn't. And they're asking for $5,000 toward a project cost of $5740, excuse me, toward that, putting a bathroom on that 3rd classroom. And one of the questions that always comes up when we're dealing with Northern Lights is how much is how much effect does it have upon North Elba, and a number of North Elba families take advantage of this service of this school.
And we all know where childcare ranks right
That's it.
now.
That's it. So that's why it's like this one's of all kinds of the top of the list, because so the 3 classrooms, 1 is for preschool age children and 2 are for 6 weeks and 36 months. Their continuity of care cohorts. And one of the COC classrooms is the one that doesn't have the bathroom. And they do a pretty good narrative of why and disruption of students.
How much is the ask, Dick?
5,000.
For a total project cost of 5,700, so.
They only get an answer for me.
Yeah, so do you want me to say the question out loud? So if you read in the paper, I think I had to go back 1 week to find the full article. They just received a significant amount of money from 2 different sources, and I can't remember what they are right now.
It was New York State.
They were both New York State, but they were both sources within New York State and for a significant amount of money. But when I read both of the articles, it was about green infrastructure improvements like heat pumps and a roof. So everything. We asked Haley to ask, so I'm fine tabling this one. We asked Haley to ask the Polly Kettling if those grants, because they were just announced that they were awarded, if they would cover the cost of this bathroom, or if that bathroom was not part of the ask.
Okay.
And we don't have an answer yet.
Could they actually, I don't have an answer for that, but one of the previous LEAF grants to Northern Lights was to upgrade, I think it's an inherited upgrade their heating system.
Yeah, that was just the recent one.
Yeah.
Do we want to do this one contingent on finding out?
Or yes, we could approve it and it's contingent that it's not included, it's not double dipping into another.
Yeah. That's fine.
I just didn't know if they, received that and then they're suddenly, wow, we've got 3 grants here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not on purpose, but just.
Right.
So that's it in a nutshell, but
Sure.
so, I make a motion that we accept the 4 grant applications and approve them with a contingency on the Northern Lights. They're not basically double dipping.
Any further discussion? I have one question. This represents what, like 25 or 26,000?
2,500, if we did the math.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, 22,500.
Where are we at balance wise?
We asked Haley to find that
She's
out.
gonna find that out.
Okay,
Well, I mean, there's,
There's
We-
definitely enough money
we
in there.
believe there's a substantial amount right now to easily cover this.
yeah.
We'll get a number.
I'll tell you what, accolades to you guys in reading these applications. And I really believe we made a very smart move on what to do with this tax revenue.
As we keep seeing more and more applications from the village of Saranac Lake, Dick and I, and with Haley have been talking about, well, it's a twofold thing. One
I'm glad
is
you're bringing this up. Okay, go
is to
for it.
like, to whenever we reach some point, like, I would like, maybe it's like our year or one mark where we've been doing this, we have like a little, not, ceremony is not the right word, but maybe like something where we invite everyone who's received the cannabis funds money to come and like share a quick story, like we invite two of them to share a story. So
Sure.
there's some sort of recognition about all the organizations that this money has helped. And at the same time, so maybe it's a time frame or maybe it's a dollar amount. Like once we reach $75,000 given out, then I don't know the answer to that. I asked Haley to think about it a little bit more. But the other part of that was hopefully to maybe like make other communities who have approved dispensaries and on-site consumption to think about where that money is going. I'm not naming names, but just said it not going into.
Consider, yeah.
Yeah. Jason said it, not me.
Yeah.
For the record.
Thank you.
You're considering not just putting the money in the general fund.
I don't want to say that. I think that's a great idea because when we had a representative from the village of Saranac Lake, there was that request that we
Give it all to
give it all to them, but they, within that request, didn't state what they were going to do with it, or if they had some sort of plan to develop some sort of grant system like we had, like
I believe-
in the pipeline.
I believe we earmarked what we would do with it right from the beginning.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
And like, to expand slightly on that. I believe that we have no problem sharing it with our neighbors to the west, even
Right.
though they may be outside of North Elba boundaries, even if it has an effect upon the
of course.
people in North Elba, but
Anyway, thank you. All right, so all in favor? Aye. Carries unanimously. Jeremy, I guess you're up. Do you want to talk about team up? And then maybe later we can do our demo or whatever.
Yeah, so, so thanks everybody for creating the accounts and had passed on the link to connect your app, and you can also have the same access through the computer. The computer one is obviously a little bit easier to navigate than the app, but having everything there on the app is super helpful. I mean, there's 25 calendars in there. So it represents all of the Park District venues that see either rental action or have scheduling type things that we need to carry. And so even Craigwood is on there for not purposes of like tea times and tournament times and those types of things. It's more for weddings, parties, use of any of the other kind of ancillary facilities there that would also be on the schedule. So we rolled this out to the Park District staff on Monday. None of them took the option to put it on their phones, they're being their personal phones. So they've asked to have it be on a tablet in the two main venues. So we're procuring one. I've worked with Kathy. So two tablets and a lockable case that mounts it to the wall. So they can still scroll and touch the screen, but it gives us some protection and security to the tablet itself. They're around about $150 each. So pretty small in terms of cost. So we'll have one at the showgrounds at the garage there and one at Craigwood at the garage there as well. So staff in both venues can see. I think they will find pretty quickly how user-friendly it is, and the fact that I've indicated to all of them that all of the information that they will need to know in the setup and the execution of an event will be in that calendaring system. So everything that they need to know from an expectation standpoint will be in there. So if they're getting ready for a lacrosse tournament, if they're getting ready for a soccer tournament, which fields, how many garbage cans, whether it needs goals, is it going to be lined, all those types of things. So, and even the toboggan schedule for the rest of the season's in there, and who's working the shifts and everything is also in there. So, so that's been brought up to date to everything that we know so far currently. And So I think, again, once they get used to using it, I think they'll find that it's just handy enough to be able to see it and have it on their phone that they'll probably just add it. If there's no expense to the program for them or for any of you all to use it and look at it. And the other thing that's good about it is that you have read access. They only have read access. So there can't be any mistakes in deleting any, there's no editing capability, right? So that something won't get deleted or, get lost in the process.
I think I asked this before, or you said it. Who does have administrative besides?
Just Adrian and I.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, sure.
Depending on how this goes, do you think it's something worthwhile to have also available for the beach and I'm gonna say, summer camp? Or are they're not really scheduling things, so it doesn't matter as much to them?
Correct. Yeah,
The
that was
second
right, that I just don't think that, if they wanted to have something, so if they wanted to create a schedule in there. So we have 25 in the Pro series that we have for the price that we had approved. So there's 25 calendars. If we go to adding Camp Placid, which right now I look at it and understand the question is that, they may be in a normal year at the showground. So their schedule could be on the showground's calendar
Yeah,
versus having their own separate calendar. So we can discuss that, but if we added one more calendar, then we would have to go up to a higher level. It is not a huge cost, but it is an additional expense just to add even just one more calendar because we're at the max right now.
So it'd be a nominal cost, because I can see what
is.
Emily is talking about, where you have a younger set of employees, they all have phones, and it's very easy just to look and say, okay, when am I?
Right,
Schedule.
right, when they're scheduled to work or whatever, right, totally, I could see the value in it for sure. And so if that's, when we do have a camp director, if that's how they want to communicate, or there may be another communication tool or something they could use, but we can certainly look into that, add it, there's no prohibition at doing it, concerns with it. So I'm happy to stick around if you want to have me show you like a little tutorial on how to activate it, because it can get, you'll see it's all color coded. And so you'll see things. So for example, if you were to go out to May 31st and June 1st, which is the soccer tournament, that Mike Mazzetti and Adam Parker are doing, it's all 7 lacrosse fields. Each of the lacrosse fields have their own schedule, their own calendar. So if you look at it, it looks like a rainbow, but it represents each of the actual fields that they're using and then what the setups and stuff will be. So it can,
That's neat.
It's up to you whether you want to wait through the rest of this meeting to do that with us, or
That's
you
fine.
want to do it individually in your office. I know your days are long as they are, so it's your call.
it's fine. I'm happy to stick around just to show it because it's easier if I put it up on the screen, but then, it's
Yeah.
You can just print it out in different colors for Derek.
it's only in 10 months. Yeah, it's okay. You'll just ask me.
We're in a color printer for.
Saturday's gonna respond.
All right, thanks, Jeremy.
Good.
Next item is a quick discussion on being able to sublet T hangar number 4. Now, hangar number 4 is under the auspice of our leasers. Okay, and they have called and put a request in to be able to sublet it. Not to just indiscriminately sublet it, but to have an arrangement where a visitor can come in and have protection for their plane. I certainly don't see a problem with it, and I'm glad Kathy's on board because she keeps track of all the leases. This would be the first lease where, if you guys agree, that we would be okay with this sublease. In other words, Lake Placid Airways pays us the $3,900 a year for that, but they have the ability to charge a client coming in and staying for a few days or whatever. So it's always a transient type situation.
But is that, but is that a sublease?
The short-term rentals for funding.
It's what it, basically it is. I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody comes in, and says,
They're not signing a lease.
they're not, that's what I
No.
mean, they're not
It's not like
subletting.
a hotel room for.
Yeah, they're not subletting. They, there's no contract with anybody else. It comes in, but we're gonna charge you $100 a day.
But the language in our current leases say that no one else can do that. This is gonna be the first situation. Now, whether it happens or not, I can't tell you.
Derek,
Yeah,
I just, do you mind if I just make a couple comments?
no, I'm glad you will.
So number one, they still have not paid nor signed the actual lease for just the T hangar for this year yet. I imagine they're holding off on that because of this question that they posed to you.
Probably.
But it seems like with this T hanger that the use they want, maybe what we should do is not call it a T hanger lease, but have an addendum written into their actual agreement for running the airport. And have it part of that fee.
That's actually,
Yeah.
exactly what I was gonna ask. It would be a separate agreement.
Cause I don't look at that as a sublease. That's just.
Because it's transient.
Right, it's not something that you're leasing it and you're gonna lease it for a month, 2 to 6 months.
All right, Kathy, is that something you could do in a language, or I have to turn back to our policy guy?
I would go to the attorneys. I mean, this is a unique situation and I don't want to get involved in any legal matters.
All right, then what I'll do, I'll go to Brian. He handled all the airport lease for us.
He's handling a couple I've got on the table now too.
Is he?
Policies.
It's good, quick turnaround.
Yeah, cause if somebody comes in and says, I'm gonna leave my plane here for a week, they'll charge a set fee. We can take the percentage of whatever, but that's all you're doing here. A short-term rental.
Why don't we do that? Make more
Because
money.
Pay someone, we don't have to manage that. We
That's
pay them to.
Sure, but I just feel like we should get a percentage.
Yeah, they're.
I look at it, I want them to be successful. There isn't much happening out there, so I don't wanna take a piece of, maybe.
I mean, that's the point. It's not, that and the fact that it's not, they're not saying to a company, well, anytime you come into town, it's yours, you're subletting it for a year. It's not, it's just anybody
Right.
comes in.
I guess I don't really know what they would charge. What's the typical charge in the industry standard? Not
No idea.
adjusted for size, so it's.
We can ask that question to
Yeah.
them. Like how much do you plan to charge per night?
I think.
Maybe they're just trying to recoup their cost.
Yeah, I think they're trying to offer it to as a service,
That's
like to
it.
increase the
That's why I look at it,
services
yeah.
that they have.
Okay, I will forward the email I got from, Richard. So it's in gear. If Brian is okay with it, how are you guys?
I think we just want to see the language that Brian proposed.
Okay,
Language and pricing.
Yeah.
And pricing from
Yeah,
them.
Yeah.
Roger.
okay. I'll forward that stuff tomorrow. Let's move on to committee reports. Anybody got anything? You guys already did cannabis.
Yep.
The childcare was supposed to meet yesterday, but it's gonna be rescheduled, so.
Maybe next week.
Yeah, and then I created a one pager rough draft for fundraising and we're working on that document, much like the Thrift and Thrive one.
And I'm assuming you all read Tim Seymour's last correspondence.
Yes, I read that today.
Or let's call it a gray area
Yes.
on how to move forward on an official basis.
Dean
No, I
responded.
was not on that.
Dean
I
res-
don't necessarily need to be on it. I did not agree. with
Okay.
it.
Dean responded, so I guess. Yeah, I guess we're
Let's wait
in
for
the
the
inflection
meeting.
point where there's some clarification that needs to
Okay.
transpire, that needs to happen in order to move forward effectively.
Okay,
But nothing from this board. Okay. Just as long as we're not holding anything up.
No, no.
Any other committee reports?
Land use code revision committee meets tomorrow. Just plugging along at little things here and there, but I know we talked at workshop about temporary workforce housing. That's one of the things on the agenda.
Okay,
Some lighting stuff with signage. Yeah, I feel like I've already given this update, so
Yep.
we're meeting again tomorrow.
All right. Well, then I guess we'll move on to Kathy with budget adjustments and personnel actions.
So I just realized like 5 minutes ago that the email I sent today, which was supposed to be personnel actions, was actually the wrong file. So I just resent it to you guys again. And basically what this is a summary of last month and to date this month of the employees that have come on who are not considered year-round. So John Riley came back this week for Black Fly.
Yep,
And then everybody else who's on here is returning laborers for the toboggan shoot and a couple new hires.
so that would be Dale, Bryce, Henry.
Henry's not, oh, yeah, Mayberry, yes.
Mayberry,
Yep, Brooke.
Brooke, Bryce,
So,
Who's the new guy? Bean, Griffin?
Griffin Bean.
and Calvin is also new, but he's not starting until next weekend, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah, so it's a little, yeah, I mean, if I can just add, I mean, it's a little bit unfortunate for him. He's the only other high school student that we had apply. He works regularly at Hannaford, so didn't have he didn't have a green working papers to give us.
Okay,
And when he went to get it, his physical was out of date, so they wouldn't give him a new one, so he had to get a physical. He got a physical. By the time that's all happened now, like there's not a whole lot of opportunities because he plays a sport and he's also in the musical. So there's only 1 day a week that he could possibly
You wanna
work.
do lifeguard? Yeah.
Plenty of opportunity here at John.
So it's unfortunate that he's jumped through the hoops for the time that it's taken to do all of that. He might only work 1 or 2 days. So it's
Okay.
unfortunate.
But
So-
now he knows it's
okay.
a learning experience.
Yep.
all right, so I think we've got that with returning employees in the bit. What else you got, Kath?
So other than that, it's just the budget amendments for what Roby always referred to as cleaning up the books at year end.
Right,
So there were 2 files in that email I sent to you back on Friday last week. There were 3 PDF attachments. One was the abstract, which I believe Rose printed out a physical copy for you all. And then
yep,
the 2024 budget amendments, which I believe this is it for the end of 2024. I am 95% ready to start putting numbers in the annual report.
good. But you don't, that deadline's not till March, isn't it?
Correct, March 31st, right?
Yeah,
And then
okay.
the other attachment was the budget amendments for this year because of the moving Adrian's position around
Right,
and purchasing the additional equipment for the Park District Management Office. And
That was emailed today, correct?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
say it again?
That's the email from today.
No, that was the email on the 7th. The first one I sent you today, like around noon before I left for my doctor's appointment, that had the wrong attachment, so you can just ignore that.
IDC store and. All right, yeah, it's all bookkeeping.
Yep, it's all bookkeeping, nothing out of the ordinary there, I don't think.
All right,
Hey, Kathy, you buried the lead. I see an Eagles logo in your
Yes.
email.
Well, I mean, I'm a Bills, my family is personally Bills, but my husband and my steps on our eagles, so I kind of have to.
I think
Well,
Rick
it's a good year to jump on the
too.
bandwagon.
Especially if they win, you
Yeah.
latch right up.
Oh, well, you should see, we have a pennant out in our garage that has all the different Eagle helmet logos from like the past 30 years on it. And it's all covered in dust. And I'm like, well, you guys really should bring that in and clean it up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, go Kelly Green.
So, but
Thanks,
yeah, I
Ken.
mean, nothing terribly out of the ordinary.
No, it's early in the year.
So, and then I'm hoping I'll have, the updated financials and like a draft of them out to you guys by the end of this week.
All right. Before we let you go, is there anything out of the audits that you feel we should take notice to? I did my best to make it through all of them. Nothing really stood out. Like I say, it's early in the year, but
Yeah, I mean, we don't have the fire protection in yet. Because generally speaking, we wait till we have all the taxes in to do those. So that'll be coming up, in
Okay.
March, or possibly as a prepaid if they start hounding me for 'em.
well, then I think what I'll do is I'll take a motion and we'll bundle these to accept budget adjustments, personnel actions, and audits. Moved by Rick, seconded by Dick. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Unanimous, carries.
One last piece of information, the cannabis funding right now, we have $67,909 available.
And we're
Okay.
gonna take 22 something from it.
Yeah.
So we got 50 grand left. Okay,
45.
45.
yeah. Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks, Kathy.
All right, we're at the part of the meeting, person's opportunity to speak. We're down to 2 people. Fred, anything on your mind?
Nothing tonight, Derek.
All right, good to see you.
Good to see you and everybody else.
Grace, fire away.
Yeah, I think the main thing, that I'll be following up on will be the ORDA agreement. I know that there was discussion about that right before I kind of came on, so I'm still kind of playing catch up, but, and I'll look at the agreement, online to see, but is there anything significant changing with the agreement, or is it mostly kind of formalizing what kind of the working,
It's like an updated version. I mean, I would say that's, well, ChatGPT, that's its own opinion. Which I'll share with you. But I feel like it was mostly, and Derek and Rick can answer this too, it was like cleaning up a lot of language that was outdated. I wouldn't say there's anything that's significant in it.
The only new thing that comes up is giving the kids access.
Yeah, there's a different fee schedule, which is a win-win for, I think, both Orda and us. That's broken down in there and is fairly easy to understand. There's a different community engagement piece than existed before, which previously it was called CAP, and now it's something separate. And that document is online too, what our proposal is. Oh, and instead of calling it a lease agreement, because it's kind of it's not exactly a lease agreement if we're paying them. So now it's called a management and operations agreement.
And then, so is the main reason why it specifically, where did I put that? Specifically has to do with the arena, the oval, and the ski jumps, is that just because those are the venues that are in North Elba?
Those are the ones that we own. Yeah.
I might have more questions after I read it.
That's fine. You know,
Put
the
it into
previous.
ChatGPT. Summarize it for me.
No, Notebook LM. Have you tried that? You go to Google and like Notebook and you can upload the document and then you can query it just like ChatGPT does, and it can create a podcast. And it sounds really like fun.
We're not trying to put you out of business or anything.
We're always gonna need humans reporting, as long as there's humans running things.
Thanks, Grace.
you.
We are in need of an executive session.
Well, but we can do Jeremy's thing before executive session, if he wants to do the tutorial.
Well, no, because it's
I gotta use
public. That I was gonna do an executive session because that's for employees only.
Okay.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
Sure.
With that being said, I'll take a motion to go into executive session. Emily, seconded by Jason, all in favor? Aye, carries. And of course, any decisions we make or whatever, Lori, I'll give to you with timing tomorrow, like when we went out.
So I'm gonna stop this and I'll hand it over to Jeremy.
How am I doing?
It was a pleasure.
Your pace is good. Keep it up.